Hello guys, welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about my competition prep that I did in September. So I competed in PCA men's physique in September, and for that competition, as I said in my previous video, I didn't actually place top 5 because the top 5 were announced. I wasn't in that, but I don't know if I came 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I don't know that at all. But by looking pictures and from where I was on stage, I think I was probably about 6th or 7th, just because on the when I was actually on stage, I was on the second call out. So that what that means, if you're on the first call out, it means that is the first, which was actually 5 people. It was the first 5 people. So they're the first 5 that placings. So I was in second call out. And halfway through the posing routine, halfway through the comparisons, I was pulled actually into the middle. And if you actually get pulled into the middle when the posing as well, comparison round, it usually means that you're actually winning out of that group. So I can guess that probably I was about 6th, maybe 7th, not too sure, but yeah. So yeah, my competition. What I did actually did a 10-week prep in the end. I know a lot of people would usually do 12 weeks or 14 or even 16 weeks. Yeah, the reason I actually did a 10-week prep was just because I can actually lose weight fairly quickly, or comparison to a lot of people anyway. So losing weight for me is not too hard. The harder bit for me is actually gaining muscle, putting on size. So I did a 10-week prep. And more about my prep is that I won't say the calories or my proteins, carbs, or fats that I was having each day, because it won't actually be relevant to any of you actually. The reason it won't be relevant is just because it only works for me, just for basically my height, my weight, my metabolism, like my job, how active I was during the day. A lot of things come into play with that as well, and how fast metabolism is as well. But I was having a certain, so I was weighing all my foods anyway, certain amount of protein, carbs and fats each day, weighing all my food. And in the mornings, what I'd be doing, or most of the time, especially the later end of the prep anyway, I would be doing cardio in the mornings, or not usually too early morning. For me, I did it about, I think it was about 9 or 10 a.m. because I was a personal trainer. I was still a personal trainer then. So I was a bit more flexible. I could do it at that time. Anyone does work a 9 to 5, yeah, that's fair enough. You can maybe do it beforehand, before work or after if you want to. So I actually did cardio in the morning. All I did, most of the time I did, or 95% of the time, I did steady state. So what I mean by steady state, LISS, which is low intensity steady state training, which is basically what I was doing most of the time was upper walking. So upper walking, when I started doing the cardio, I think it was at 15 or 20 minutes. And as the prep goes on, I do slowly increase the amount of cardio I do, or not always increase the cardio. Sometimes I decrease the amount of food I have as well, depending if I'm losing weight or not as well. So I did start about 15-20 minutes, and then at the end of the prep anyway, I did get down to, what did I get down to? Get up to doing about 45 minutes of cardio. Well, the day before, I think it was 2 days before my comp, was my last cardio session, which was actually an hour. I remember that one I did, was it 40 minutes of upper walking, and I had the stepper after that for 20 minutes as well, just to change it up a little bit. So as I said, I did do mainly upper walking. I will say the gradient was usually about, gradient was 9 or 10 degrees, and the speed was between 5 and 5.5. I think it's in kilometers per hour as well. And if I wanted to change it up and down a little bit, like as the prep goes on, like instead of a higher incline instead, or go slightly faster, another way of changing up the cardio as well. I didn't always do that. As I said, I did sometimes go on a stepper. At the gym I was at before, I didn't actually have a Stairmaster. that's the reason why I didn't really use it stepper so much, because stepper I don't really like quite as much. Reason for that, because the stairmaster is basically a conveyor belt of stairs, so actual proper stairs that go around in a conveyor belt, just like it's like a mini version of an escalator. But yeah, so I actually use the stepper sometimes there, which just basically your feet are on the pads the entire time, and they go up and down, or like slide back and forth as well, up and down. So it's not quite as good, but I did actually use that a couple of times as well. And I think maybe a couple of times I did actually do some interval training. So interval training, when you go really fast, whatever speed you're doing, you go really fast, so your heart rate goes high, then you slow it down, heart rate comes back down. Once it comes back down to normal sort of level, steady state level, you bring it back up, down, fluctuating like that. And I would do that for about 15 or 20 minutes as well. And when I did that for 15, 20 minutes, it would usually be, I did it on a couple of different machines. I would use a rowing machine. I actually love the rowing machine. That's a very good piece of equipment. Reason for that is because it actually works a lot of the body. So you're going to be working your legs, because you are pressing with your legs. So you're working your legs as well. Obviously your hands like that, pulling to your stomach. So a lot of your arms come into play. Forearms obviously, your back works, shoulders a little bit as well, and a little bit of core for stability. Not too much of core, but just a little bit anyway. So that is actually very good. You can do steady state with that, but also I did do intervals with that as well. So my intervals would change a lot, to be honest, to do different, just change up the intervals, but I would maybe do, I think what would I do? I think I did 30 seconds fast. So if it was rowing, for example, or it could be, sometimes I do go on a bike as well, like a spinning bike. But I would do maybe 30 seconds fast, not flat out as fast as I can, maybe 85 to 90% of my max as well. And then go nice and slow I did for 40 seconds, or no, 45 seconds I did it for. Nice and slow, so fast for 30, slow for 45, and try and do it as many times as I can. Usually if I can, try and do it 10 times, or up to a certain amount of time, which with me was about 15 or 20 minutes, and maybe a little bit more as the prep goes on as well. But yeah, so yeah, those are really the cardio machines that I use most. So the three main ones was rowing machine, uphill walking, and stepper really. And I did once or twice, as I said, use a spinning bike, but I only used it a couple of times as well. The reason I didn't use it as much, I just find it very uncomfortable to sit down. For me, there's just the seats are just very, the saddles are very solid, and it just seems to hurt my ass after a while, to be honest. So yeah, I only did that a couple of times, and my legs were very sore as well. I was doing cardio so often, my legs do end up, because obviously most or more or less most cardio machines do work your legs. And at the time I was training legs twice a week anyway, so it'd be taxed on my legs hell of a lot. So yeah. Okay, and now weight training wise, what I would do, I actually, when I'm in the prep, I've changed it now, but in the prep, I did a push-pull legs routine. So push means chest, shoulders, and triceps all together in one day. And the next day, I'd be doing pull, which is back and biceps. And the third day, I'd be doing legs. And then I'd repeat again, and then rest, and then start over again. Same days, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, push, pull, legs, repeat it. On Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I just end up having a Sunday off. So at the time I wasn't working Sundays anyway, so I thought there'd be no point going into the gym as well, so it worked out completely fine. And Sunday was a full rest as well, not even doing cardio. So I had 1 day a week of literally full rest, no cardio, no weights or anything. So every muscle I'll be hitting twice a week, doing push-pull legs. For me anyway, I do like doing that. That is really probably my favourite way of training, or the way of training that works best for me anyway, doing twice a week. And I will say about doing push-pull legs, you don't need to hit the muscle as hard as well. If you hit the muscle too hard, like if you do 5, 6, or even sometimes 7 exercises per muscle, it won't have enough time to recover basically. You've only got, let's say, 3 days for the muscle to recover if you hit it too hard. So we're doing push-pull legs or hitting a muscle twice a week instead of once. It's more frequency training instead of volume training. So I do two different ways of training. So as I said, frequency training is instead hitting the muscle more often. So it can be 2 or even 3 times a week, whatever routine you're doing. So if you're doing it twice a week, as I said, doing the push-pull legs, your muscles don't take, or your muscles won't have as long to recover till you do it again. So that's why I won't hit it quite as hard. I still, in a sense, let's say with the exercises or every set I do push to failure, go to the end, but I won't end up doing as many exercises or sometimes as many sets as well. Usually sets wise, when I did that, it still was about 4 sets, but if I do every muscle once a week, I'd end up doing more exercises, like as I said, 6, 7 exercises per muscle, maybe sometimes 5. And do more sets, maybe 5, 6 sets as well. But I was just doing, when I was doing push-pull legs, a little bit less sets, just because it's more about frequency training. When you do frequency training, you have less time for it to recover. So you don't want to hit as hard. But that's what I was doing anyway. So more about my prep. As I said, I did a 10-week prep for my competition. So when I started my prep, I didn't even start the first 2 weeks. I didn't do any cardio actually, no cardio at all. As I said, for myself, I can gain muscle I can lose fat quite easily, and gain muscle is quite tough for me anyway to gain muscle. So what I would do, as I said, I would slowly increase my calories. My protein would stay the same the entire prep, or later on it would change very slightly, but I'll say it after anyway. And my fats more or less would stay the same the entire prep as well. So it's really my carbs that I'd be dropping slightly. So the first couple of weeks, my carbs were a certain amount grams per day. And I didn't want to, when I get to the 2 weeks, because the reason I didn't do cardio in 2 weeks, because I knew that I could lose weight already in those 2 weeks without doing any cardio. So if you can already lose weight by dieting and still having a decent amount of carbs, so I still had quite a lot of grams of carbs a day. So if I can still lose weight, lose fat, doing no cardio, then do it. Why do cardio? There's no point. You're just going to be in more of a deficit, or you're going to lose too quickly. And if you lose weight too quickly, you will end up losing a bit of muscle as well. So as I said, I was doing cardio, only started on the second week. And when I did it, I only did it twice a week when I started as well. So I started doing it twice a week. And when I did do it twice a week, I was only doing it I was actually starting steady state, again about 15-20 minutes, just twice a week, maybe let's say a Monday and a Thursday, or a Tuesday and a Friday, for example. And when I did do that, I was again the reason I did cardio is just because I did, after 2 weeks of not doing cardio, I could see when I was weighing myself every day, my carbs weren't dropping at all, but I could also see that my weight was not dropping. It was quite stagnant the entire time, to be honest. When you're losing weight, it should be going down. If you start to stagnate, that's when you change things up a little bit. So there's many ways of changing up. You can either, as I said, drop the carbs, so you have less carbs each day, add some cardio a little bit, or even just change up cardio if you're already doing that. Or even, if you can, add in a refeed or cheat meal. Alright, so that's actually going to be end of part 1. There's going to be a second part coming up.